Mohamed Fofana, I really appreciate the time and congratulations on what tonight is going to be, the display of your warm-up jerseys. Just give everybody a background of how long you've been working with the team and also what is your artistic background?
So, thank you, Brody, for taking the time to talk with me today. I've been working with the San Jose Sharks now for about 5 years. In my current role as group account executive, my job is to get people to come to the games and just be able to open up the doors of hockey to different communities and working with companies um, and things of that nature. So I've been doing that for for 5 seasons now. And as far as just my artistic background, I started off drawing at 11, and then when I got into sports and around like high school, it all kind of went away because I was going from cross country to basketball to track and all that stuff. So like art wasn't, I guess, cool at that time. And I picked it back up when I moved to San Jose 5 years ago. It's actually weird how the two things kind of connect. When I moved to San Jose, I was looking for ways to decorate my apartment. And I thought instead of like buying art, I was like, well, why not just create it so it can feel like more like, my footprint in my own apartment. So I started to paint, started with acrylic and, you know, dived into to oil painting and now I'm designing jerseys for the Sharks. So,
There you go.
you know,
So cool. So when they come to you and they say, give us the ultimate design, something that, is your best work, how many different versions of it do you start with? How do you narrow it down? Because I'm sure there were a bunch of ideas going through your head.
yeah, it's an interesting process because this is the second time now that I've been asked to create something for the Sharks. The first one was last summer for the Juneteenth celebration.
Hmm.
I was asked to submit something, and I literally had 3 days to come up with an idea, to submit it.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. So I knew that I didn't have many opportunities to submit something that was going to be denied or whatnot. But I think, with being someone who paints and using acrylic or oil and whatnot on canvas, my process is a little different in the sense that I'm not doing it in a computer where I can do it,
Right.
of many different versions. I just did some research and, just went with what felt natural to me, where I felt like, my artistic, endeavors was telling me to go. So it was the same process with the jersey. They came up to me and asked me, would I be interested for the opportunity? And of course, I was like, yeah. But at the same time, I was nervous because it's a big deal.
Right.
And at the time, I actually thought that I would be submitting, artwork that other artists also were going to be submitting artwork for the same project, and then someone was going to be selected, the best one was going to be selected.
Right.
And then to find out that it wasn't even the case, like I had the job, it was mine, so I needed to create it. Um, so, I just kind of, did some research and looked like what does Black history means to me? What does it mean from, my community?
Hmm.
What does it mean for, like, I looked at myself 5 years ago before I started working for the Sharks. I never used to watch hockey. It just never appealed to me. And I thought about, if I'm designing this for myself 5 years ago, what would be cool? And when I was designing this jersey, my little brother was home from um, Christmas break. So this was the first time he was seeing me in my process as I was creating this. And to just see the excitement on his face as, the creation was coming along, um, those are what inspired me. Those people like myself 5 years ago who just never thought that hockey spoke to them, who just thought that it wasn't a game that they couldn't enjoy. I wanted this jersey to be kind of like a bridge where you see someone like yourself or someone that who created this jersey that the players in the NHL will be wearing tonight. That you feel like this is also for you, you
Very
know.
cool.
So that was the inspiration. I just thought about like my community. I thought about like myself. The colors that you will see on the jersey is inspired by the Pan African flag. So I thought about all the people in the African diaspora and want them to be represented in the design, so that they can also feel like, hey, this game is for us. Like the NHL says, hockey's for everyone. And so I had that going in my mind when I was creating this.
I'm glad you talked about the specific colors you chose. That was my next question. In the final design, what are all the different representations? I mean, we could probably even go into the font, using
Yeah,
the old logo, kind of putting
yeah,
text above and below it. Just give
yeah.
us an overall sense of all the different meanings that you can of what the
hmm
final product looks like.
So when I got the opportunity, the first thing I knew before I even had colors or anything was that I wanted to pay homage to Terry Smith
Cool. Yep.
because, again, going back and doing history, he was the African American designer that designed our original logo. So I knew that the logo that I would select for my jersey would be the original
Yep.
logo. So that was number one. Yeah, I know it was going to be like in my own variation or whatnot, but I wanted to make sure that I paid my respect to him
Good.
because
That's a really good start.
yeah, because he paved the way for someone like me
Yeah.
to have this opportunity. So that was one. And the second one was, I was like, what colors do I want to use? Like what would be fun and what also could pay respect to, again, just like the ancestor and just like the black lineage. Um, and similar process that I did with the Juneteenth artwork that I did in June, the colors of, black, red, black, and green. Just the Pan African flag, it just signifies like the color red, the blood that runs through, all black people. The black color just represents the people, and then the green just represents the richness of the land that we have. So those were kind of the meanings behind it. Um, I wanted to use that, connect the Juneteenth piece artwork with this one.
Yeah.
So I wanted to continue that color going on because, again, that color represents the African diaspora. So whether you're African American, Canadian American, um, Hispanic, whatever the case may be, I wanted you to feel connected to this jersey. So that was the inspiration behind it. And I put the BHM on it to represent, Black History Month. And then I have in some of the letters you will see I have the yellow highlight in it. Um, it's just again elevating, um, the culture, elevating people. So that was the meaning behind the colors and the design. And the font, I wanted something cool,
Yeah. It's
something
fun.
fun. Again,
Yeah.
yeah, something fun. Again, like I said, my little brother was around, so I was thinking again, those those people at 16, 15, um, like what would be interesting to them? How can I get them engaged to actually be like, hey, I want to watch this. I want to be a part of this. I want to take ownership of this. So I thought about that because it starts young. Like I didn't grow up playing hockey. I picked it up,
Hmm.
late in life, but it's been important for me to introduce it to new people. And I think it's important to introduce young people to it because as we've seen with everything, once young people invest into it, then, their parents
Yep.
and their families are more invested into it. So that was kind of like my mindset.
That's a great point. Hey, two more things. We already talked
hmm
about this before I hit record. When
Yeah.
you see this tonight during warmups on the Sharks players, your design,
Uh-huh.
what do you think your reaction is going to be? How are you thinking you're going to feel?
That's a great question. I think I'm going to be proud of how far I've come
Hmm.
within the organization and just the opportunity that I put myself in position to receive. This all stemmed from just last summer with everything that was going on.
Hmm.
I was having a hard time to put into words like how I was feeling, and art was the best way, my best medium to be able to say what I was feeling. And I took that and I shared it with my organization, which was the first time I've ever done so on such a huge platform, where I spoke out about what was happening. This was after like the George Floyd incident. I spoke out about it, how it was impacted me personally, professionally, and how I use art to be able to drive the conversation. That's the point of my art. I use my art as a vehicle to have these tough conversations because people can look at something like the jersey and be like, oh, this is so cool, but there's so many different meanings in it,
Right.
So it's easier to have a conversation like that, in my opinion, than just, hey, let's get right into it. So that was, my way to start having the conversation. And, I shared it with my organization. And, I'm fortunate and I'm grateful that they were able to see what I was trying to say with my art.
That's a
And,
great point.
and um, it just proved to me the importance of speaking up, the importance of being vulnerable, the importance of, telling your truth and letting people know how you feel. Because I think if I hadn't done that, these opportunities wouldn't have came. So by me speaking up, by me sharing my art, my organization was able to see the things that I was trying to say, the change that I was trying to implement within the organization, and that led to us starting the Tip for Change Council and all the different things that we've been doing within the organization. So I think it's a when I see my jersey tonight on the ice, it's a combination of you know me trusting my gut that I'm proud that I spoke up. I'm proud that um, I had the courage to share my art, something that's so vulnerable, something that's so personal to me, and to continue to do that, and to continue to encourage other people to speak up and to share, their truth and share their stories because people will listen. You have to give people the opportunity to listen to your story and wanting to affect change. So it's going to be a proud moment for me. I know that I have friends and family here in Memphis and even in San Jose that didn't really feel invested in the Sharks. Now they're like sharing it and talking about it and wanting to tune into our event
Great.
because they feel connected, right? They know someone who works for the Sharks who created this, right? They or people that don't even know me can look at this and be like, hey, this person looks like me. So if this person can do this, then there's a place for me in hockey as well. There's a place for me in, spaces that I may go to that I don't see many people like myself. So although I'm grateful for the opportunity for myself, I was very aware of what it would mean for people from my community. For myself 5 years ago, who would have never imagined,
Yeah.
that who would never imagine that, not that I'll be working in hockey, let alone design a
Right.
jersey. And I just a jersey, a Black History Month jersey, the first time we've ever done something like that, you know. So history being made during Black History Month. It's so many different layers that,
Yeah.
it's gonna take some weeks and some months for me to digest it, but I am grateful that the Sharks gave me the opportunity and gave me the platform to be able to, share my art and invite people from my community in to, support the Sharks. Watch hockey, but support the Sharks. That's important.
Pick the right team.
Pick the right team. Bleed teal.
There you go. Hey, Mohammed, great stuff, man. Congratulations on this. Like I said, I know you're going to remember this night for a very long time. I hope you have a jersey that you created to keep forever. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
good.
I'm definitely. I have the original canvas that I painted. That it's gonna wherever I go, wherever apartment or house that I build 5, 10 years from now, it's going there. So I'm definitely grateful and can't wait to see the players in it at 7 o'clock today.